Hey everyone, this is Harry from Hasbro TV back with another match review video. So Tottenham Hotspur 0, Manchester City 1. I think it's our 14th Premier League loss now. So let's get into it. So first of all, just a little touch. Haaland did start for City and he did score, which was kind of sort of expected. But anyway, the Spurs lineup was quite interesting. We had Vicario in goal, which was kind of expected, but Gray played with Danso. I don't know whether it's because Davies was injured, because Davies wasn't even on the bench. And Adogi started with Porro, much to a lot of people's, including myself, annoyance, because obviously Spencer's been so good this season. It kind of seems like he was kind of dropped. And the midfield was Bentancur, Bergvall, and Maddison. And Maddison especially didn't really do much today, but I'll get into it a bit more. And the front three was Odegaard on the left, and obviously Tell up front and Johnson on the right. It was quite interesting actually, because it meant that Kulusevski, Son, Spence were all left on the bench. They were brought on later on in the game, but let's just get into it. Just quickly talk about the game. So there's two ways of looking at this. Do people think that Ange rested players, or those particular players I mentioned who came on later in the game, for the Alkmaar game? Or do you think that Ange was trying something different, or I don't know. The thing for me is that the Alkmaar game's like in 10 days time or something like that. It's like the 6th of March. Today's like the 26th of February on the Wednesday. So we've got what, 8 days till that game, if I'm not wrong, 8 days. So he could have potentially put his first team out. Like, it was a bit weird that of all the games to do it at, he did that one rather than like Ipswich, which I found quite strange. There's a lot of ways you can look at it. Personally, for me, I wasn't particularly happy with the lineup because, again, I'm not still convinced about Bergvall being in the midfield. I know a lot of people sing his praises because he works hard and he runs and blah, blah, blah. And especially with, like, I guess with Gray, it's more because he had no choice. Because if Davies wasn't fit, you look at our bench, we had Reguilon and Spence. So he probably was the only choice really as centre-back at that point to play with Danso. And Danso did all right, to be fair to him, but like in general, the first half we were really poor. We could have been 3 or 4-0 down. He was, of course, inverting the fullbacks, which left us extremely exposed, especially with City's wide players. I mean, Doku had so much joy the whole game against Porro. And I kind of expected that because Porro ain't good defensively. And if you invert him even more, you could just cause yourself even more problems against someone like Doku. And Savinho, when I look at Savinho, actually, he kind of reminds a little bit of Mahrez. He kind of same sort of style of winger. I don't know if anyone else thinks the same way about that, but... And... yeah, City got their goal with Haaland quite early in the game, and they could have scored 3 or 4 more. The second half was a bit different. Spurs came out a bit more fight, I guess, and they gave it a decent go, but I kind of felt like the damage was already done in the first half for me. We had a few chances. I mean, Son missed a great chance when Johnson finally decided to learn how to cross the ball with like 5 minutes ago. And then we had that VAR check with the handball with Haaland, which I haven't seen it yet, so can't really comment on it. But all in all, I just feel like we were very blunt. And, okay, Alkmaar next week is probably going to be a lot easier than the City. And I don't think Spurs will probably beat Alkmaar. I'll be very surprised if we don't. Even in the away leg, I'll be very surprised if we don't beat them. But they did beat Galatasaray 4-1. But because that's besides the point, they should be on paper a lot easier than Man City. But so that's our 14th loss, and like I even would have taken a draw today. Like if we got a draw, I'd be like cool, and we just move on. But just I don't know. He brought on Werner later on, who, again, people say he's had injuries and blah blah. And when the players come back, and we'll be different. It's the same old tactics. Even when he made the changes, right, we still stay in the same formation, and I'm just like, what's the point? Especially Scott. I mean, he was Scarlett on the bench. You might as well just bring him on and go 4-4-2. You might as well do that. What annoys me the most, right, is just there's like 2 minutes left. We're still playing out the back. I'm just like, just flipping, kicking forward, long balls with like 2 minutes left, and it's like honestly, it's baffling. The way we play is just baffling, especially like I said, with like a minute left, 2 minutes left. He's still playing out the back, and there were often times in the game where we got caught out playing out the back. I think Savino picked it off. Haaland almost picked off, or did pick it off as well. Like, there was a lot of instances when that happened. And yeah, I don't think it's to do with the personnel because, like I said, Vicario was the first choice keeper supposedly anyway, and the back four was the best back four we could put out, really, apart from maybe Van de Ven and Romero. But then we were still having the same problems with Van de Ven and Romero anyway at the beginning of the season when we had, for example, you look at the Palace goal away from home we conceded was basically from us playing out of the back. So for me, it's not even the personnel in that respect. But it's just, you don't do that against a team like City, especially the way with City were playing where they were pressing very high. And the technical players they have, like, yeah, just a really, really bad idea. And then I just felt like I just saw the same old, really, with Tottenham, same old Tottenham. But yeah, question for you guys, do you think he was resting place for Alkmaar? Because maybe he was. But then, did he need to? Because like I said, the game is in like 8 days. So anyway, you can make of that what you will. But anyways, come on, you Spurs.